What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of #Jump the podcast. I have a special guest with me today, a good friend of mine, Stephanie Hobbs, who is a fashion stylist located in Little Rock, Arkansas. What's going on, Stephanie?
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. I'm glad that you could be here today. I know we talked about this months and months and months ago, and just talking as you and I do at our HH happy hour, just about the things that we are doing in life. And I knew that I wanted to have you on this podcast, so I'm very appreciative that you decided to take me up on the offer. So I want you to start by telling the people a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Well, first of all, thanks for having me. I really, really appreciate it. I'm honored to be one of your guests. A little bit about Stephanie. Like you say, I'm not originally from Little Rock, but I've been living here for a while now. But I'm originally from a small town called Moro, Arkansas. I am a country girl. So a little bit about me. I graduated from University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. See what else? Things that I like to do. I love to travel. I love to hang with friends. I love to eat. So I'm a foodie, and I know you're a foodie too. So I love all things fashion. That's one of the reasons why I became a fashion stylist. I love to travel. So that's one of the things that I love. How I kind of got into fashion was because of my mother. I used to watch her as a little girl. I used to play in her clothes, her jewelry, her shoes. Used to walk around outside in her heels. And one thing she would always tell me is that I didn't just go get an old pair of heels. I would go get a new pair of heels and walk around outside. And she would, beat my butt for doing that. She was like, you don't just go get my old shoes. You go get a new pair of shoes and walk around outside and be playing. So she knew I was going to grow up and be just like her. So here I am. I love, like I say, I love all things fashion. I'm not gonna go into Style Me Stephanie just yet because I know you're probably gonna ask me about that.
Right.
Wait for that.
Yeah. I know we met initially judging my fraternity's scholarship pageant. I'm a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. I haven't said that yet, I don't think, on this podcast. And we met judging a Miss Black and Gold pageant, and we just ended up being friends as a result of that. I remember the first thing you asked me to do, can you take my picture?
Yeah, you did take my picture.
Yeah. And we've just been friends ever since. We also church members together, and I've just enjoyed our friendship. But I know that in the beginning, you weren't doing Style Me Stephanie right when we met. So what was life like for you around the time we met in terms of your job and maybe career goals that you had, and maybe just the things that you might have been feeling at that time as it relates to possibly wanting to get into fashion?
Well, actually, at the time when we met, fashion was not on my mind. I was working a corporate job. I believe I was at Alltel or Windstream. I don't even know which one it was, but I was in telecommunications. I had been in telecommunication world for like 20 plus years. But I kind of knew that there was something that's supposed to be doing, something else that I'm supposed to be doing. I didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
And like I say, I've always loved fashion and stuff like that. But like I say, it took a minute for me to realize that I could really turn my love for fashion into a business. And I forgot what year we met, but I mean, like I say, it was several years along the line when I decided to, start my business and just get started. Like you say, like the name of the podcast, Jump. I had to go ahead and jump and decide to go do it because I had several people, my friends and stuff, they would have events and stuff like that, go to a birthday party or whatever, and they would ask me, hey, Stephanie, can you help me put an outfit together? You always look so cute and, you always look so fashionable. Can you help me put something together? And I was like, sure, I would just be doing it for fun.
Yeah.
And then I kind of, as years went down the line, I met this lady. She was a radio personality and she wanted to change her image. She wanted to be more fashionable herself. And so she asked me to help her. And I said, sure. And she was like, Steph, I don't want you to do this for free. I'll pay you. She's like, what do you charge? I was like, I don't know. I'm just doing it for fun because you asked me. She's like, well, I believe you're very talented. She said, I've watched you for years and I love the way you dress. I love the way you carry yourself. She said, so, just name your price and I'll pay it. I said, okay. So I just kind of like, gave her a number and she paid it. So she was having different, appearances, different places. And I would just, get her looks together and stuff like that. And I was doing it then, but I still wasn't trying to start it as a business. It was probably maybe a year later, probably in 2018, because actually 2018 is when Style Me Stephanie was born. I had, there's a lot of life coaches out here. So I had this lady, she was a life coach, life strategist. And I would sit and talk to her and we would talk about life and stuff like that. And she was, Stephanie, what do you really want to do in life? And I was like, I really don't know. I was like, I love fashion. I love, dressing people. I love, making people look good and feel good and, be confident when they step outside the door. And she's like, Stephanie, that's a business, that's a career. And I was like, really? She said, well, yeah. She said, I think they call them like stylists or something like that. So I started doing my research and I was like, you're right. She was like, well, Stephanie, you've been saying you've been wanting to do something else. How about you just go ahead and, birth, what she would call it, birth your baby. And I was like, well, how am I supposed to do that? I don't know about starting a business or anything like that. I was like, I don't even know what I'm supposed to do. And then she's like, well, I'll help you. So I had some of my friends, we kind of like started talking about what I need to do. So she's like, well, just do like a small fashion show and, style your models and, show your work and what you can do. And I said, okay. So I was like, well, okay, I can do that. So I, got some of my friends. I was like, hey, y'all, I want to style you, but I want to style you I don't want you to spend any money. Yeah. I want to style you from your closet. And then, my signature is like a pop of color. Even most of the time that I've dressed, I always have a pop of color somewhere, except for today. Well, I got a little bit in my earrings, but I normally have a pop of color. So I wanted everybody, I knew everybody's outfits wasn't going to look the same because everybody's clothing and their closets are different.
Right.
So I just made sure that was my signature and everybody's outfit was a pop of color. So I contacted one of my good friends, Cliff Aaron, he's the founder of Drummer Boy Infinity.
Drummer Boy, yeah.
Yeah. And I talked to him about what I wanted to do. And just so happens, he was like, Steph, I'm having an event in Hot Springs and it's called Drummers in the House. And he's like, he was bringing a lot of celebrity drummers that was going to be teaching people how to, be drummers and stuff like that. And he had like a series of events. And he was having like a day party at the Arlington Hotel. It was on June 16, 2018. And I was like, okay. He's like, I already got the venue. I got DJ, I got music. He was like, all you have to do is just get your models together. He was like, of course, you're going to need some marketing material, stuff like that. He said, but everything else, I got it. And I was like, really? Oh, okay. So I got my models together and I was like, okay, I need t-shirts, I need business cards, I need a banner. I didn't have none of that stuff. So I didn't even have a logo. Yeah. I had to think of a logo, get somebody to make my logo. And then, when we're talking to my life coach at that time, I was like, I don't even know what to call my business. I'm like, what am I going to call it? So I had to like rush and try to think of something, but I didn't want to just be rushing into something that, I'll start something and I have to change the name later.
Yeah.
I had to really be careful of how I was going to name my business. And I said, well, I want it to be, of course, about me, represents me, but I also want it to be like an action word. So I was sitting, I had friends help me, and I was sitting there thinking, writing things down, and it just like, it was nobody but the good Lord. He just gave it to me. Because, people would call me, hey, Stephanie, I want you to style me. Yeah. And I was like, style me, Stephanie, style me. I was like, that's it, style me, Stephanie. So came up there, of course, you don't want to be stealing nobody else's business name.
Right.
So I did my Googling. Of course, there were some that was named there. They were like hairstylists and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, well, I think I'm good. I did my research. I, went ahead and got my EIN number. I wanted to be legal.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. And my articles of incorporation and make sure I'm, a real business owner. So I got all that. Like I say, and keep in mind, Fred, I did this in a matter of 2 weeks. I only had 2 weeks to get everything together. So of course, devil was in my ear.
Yeah.
girl, you ain't got enough time. You don't have enough money to take care of all of this. You need to wait. And I mean, like everything that could go wrong at that time was going wrong. And I was just like, I can't do it. I don't have enough time. I can't do this. And he was encouraging, a lot of my friends that was helping out. It was like, Stephen, what you need? I mean, we're here to help. Don't give up. I'm like, everybody really believed in me that I was supposed to be doing this. So everybody just came together and it happened. Like I say, June 16th, 2018, I launched Out Me Stephanie at the Arlington Hotel in Hot Springs, Arkansas, with a small fashion show. And I was introduced to the world on that day.
Yeah. So working a 9 to 5, and I know I know all about that, because I know many times when we would meet up and eat, it would be after work, So how was that, knowing that you had a dream or something bigger than your job that you wanted to do, but you also had to go to work every single day? What was that process like? Or what, not necessarily a process, but what were your thoughts centered around when it came to, I really want to do this, but I'm working a 9 to 5. I got to work this 9 to 5, but I really want to do this. Like what were some of the things that you felt about the situation you were in?
Well, I knew that, if I'm going to do what I really love to do, of course I have to keep working where I am, because I need that paycheck to fund my dream, right?
Yeah.
So yeah. I kept working my 9 to 5, even though I was never really happy there. Actually, I hated my job. I mean, it was a struggle every morning to get out of bed, and it wasn't because I was up late. I mean, I would go to bed at a decent hour, get 8 hours of sleep. But I tell you, it was a struggle every morning to get out of bed. I'm like, why do I feel like this every single day? I don't feel like this on Saturday, and I don't feel like this on Sunday. It's just Monday through Friday.
Yeah.
I hate my job. I wasn't doing what I was put on earth to do. So, like I say, I just did it. And literally, when I launched my business, like I say, it was in June of 2018. I literally, and this does not happen for everybody, excuse me. I was getting booked for fashion shows. I was getting booked for speaking engagements, just different things that was fashion related. And I didn't really think I had the experience to really be doing this. I'm like, I don't consider myself as a speaker.
Yeah.
How am I going to, step and tell people, these things? But I knew what I was talking about when I got up, because I know I knew fashion. But speaking, I was always be afraid to talk to people, in front of a crowd. I would get super nervous and stuff like that. I'm just like, okay. But and everybody was like watching, like, Stephanie, you're really flourishing like fast. Like you're being booked for something every month from June 2018 to the end of the year. December 2018, I had something going on every month. And that has not happened for everybody. And that's when I knew then, yes, I'm walking in my purpose. This is what I'm supposed to do. So, and from then on, and it's 4 years now, I'm still doing it.
So how important is it for people to follow the things that they are passionate about, or the things that they are really, really, really interested in, those things that they may not be able to explain why they're so drawn to it? How important is it to follow your passion and to see where it leads you?
I think it's very important because, if you have a dream and it's something you've been wanting to do and it's been egging at you, and of course, everybody's not going to understand your dream. I had to learn that too. People are like, you crazy girl, you can't do that. You a stylist girl, ain't nobody in Little Rock So, you can't let the negativity stop you from doing. So I would tell anybody, if you have a dream and it's been egging at you, you've been dreaming about it, you've been thinking about it, you wrote it down, you wrote the vision down, you made it plain, do it. And just say, jump, do it. Because you're going to always wonder, should I have done it? Or, I'm listening to my friends, they're telling me, nah, girl, you can't do that. Or, dude, you can't do that, whatever. Cut all that out. Just do it. Do it scared, do it afraid, just do it. Pretty much.
Yeah. Did you ever have any obstacles coming your way?
Gosh, yes. I mean, I had a lot of, like I say, a lot of obstacles, excuse me, but fear was one of them. I almost let fear stop me from launching Style Me Stephanie. So fear is going to be, that's going to be one of, when you start something new, you just going to automatically be scared and fearful anyway. But, and then there's another one, of course, finances. Finances is going to feel like, I can't afford to do this. I can't afford to, do my dreams. Don't let that stop you. Because if it's meant for you to do it and that's what God has for you to do, He's going to make a way. Somebody's going to help you. Somebody's going to be right there. And it's really important to surround yourself with people who truly believe in you and it will help you.
Yeah.
That's so important.
Yeah. Did you ever feel any type of way about succeeding in fashion because you were from a smaller town at all?
Honestly, I didn't never really feel that, like, just because I was from a small country town that I couldn't, fulfill my dreams. I know some people
Yeah.
may have that problem, but I have to be honest that most of my, my people from small towns, they were pushing me. They were pushing me to go forward, so I really didn't have that problem.
And it's funny because in the beginning, when you talked about um, playing in your mom's shoes and clothes and that sort of thing, I remember in another interview, um, I talked with a friend of mine who was a good communicator and just loved to be a people person. It seems that we are born with things that really lend themselves to our passions once we really tap into those things. Um, so how important is it for people to be aware of their gifts, their abilities, and to not shy away from those things or hide those things?
And it's really important. Like, I mean, sometimes you don't even know that you have a gift, and until someone pointed out to you.
Yes.
People may know right away. I did not know what my gift was right away. I had people that tell me, and then when they told me, I was like, "What? Okay, if you all say so." But then I had to stop and think. And I'm like, they may have a point there, but I mean, like I say, I didn't know my gifts right away, but I'm thankful that I did tap into my gift, and now I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, and I don't regret any of it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if people are out there that know that gift like right away, like early on, they need to be tapping into those gifts like right away. I mean, everybody doesn't do everything the same time frame. I mean, I feel
Right.
still here on Earth, it's not too late.
Yeah.
So it wasn't too late for me. I'm thankful for that. I'm in my 40s and I started my business in my 40s. People's like, oh, you waited a long time. That's okay. I started when I was supposed to start.
Yes.
The way I feel. I started when I was supposed to start. I wasn't supposed to start in my 20s and my 30s. There are some people who started businesses in their 20s and 30s. That was meant for them. I was meant to start when I started.
Yeah. And I think people do think that it's too late because things haven't happened earlier on, but those things that are going to last or that need a little bit more work take some time. There are just some things that we have to work for and continue to just put that effort in, and I know a lot of people, even myself, sometimes the older you get, you feel like, well, maybe this isn't going to happen. You know what I'm saying? And it's hard to think that a dream is going to happen. So is there anything that pushed you or kept motivating you once you started to step into the realm of fashion, or even now that Style Me Stephanie is off the ground? What motivates you? What keeps pushing you, propelling you forward?
Actually, what motivates me is my clients, the women that I work with, the words of encouragement they give me, and their testimonies is like my motivator. When they tell me, like, Stephanie, like I had one client, and it actually brought me to tears. um, she actually told me, she said, wow, Stephanie, you got me ready for this event, and I felt so pretty, I felt so beautiful, and I never really felt like that. She told me that. And she said, now I know how it feels to be Stephanie. I was like, what?
Yeah.
So I'm getting emotional just talking about it. And I say that that really meant a lot to me. That she thought so highly of me, that she was like, she know how it feels to be me. And I didn't even, I don't even look at myself like that.
Yeah.
I know I like I say, once I've tapped into my gift, once I started my business and I'm helping the women and making them look good, making them feel good, and they give me these words of encouragement. I just had an older lady that inboxed me the other day, and she was like, man, you're my shiro. She like in her 70s. And I'm like, what? And I was like, oh, she's like, man, I've just been watching your journey. And she said, you just really inspire me. And she's like, keep doing what you're doing, young lady. I said, thank you so much. So that is like my motivator, and for me to keep going and don't stop.
Yeah.
Because there are people out there that are watching me, and I'm inspiring them. And like my 3 hashtags that I love to use is, I love to inspire, motivate, and educate. I want to inspire women. I want to motivate them, and not only just motivate, I want to educate them on fashion and how to, um, you know, pick out outfits every day, your everyday looks, and even if you're going to a fancy event, what looks good on you and the proper way of dressing.
Yeah.
And I want to do that with even young girls, because there's so many young girls out there now that they don't know how to dress like young ladies. They just haven't been taught that. And I'm learning now that there's some grown women that have never been taught that.
Yeah.
You know? And then and I'm teaching them, teaching that to them, and they're like, oh, Steph, I didn't even know. Like, a lot of women, grown women, don't even know the proper undergarments to wear, you know. And I'm teaching them that, and it's like, oh man, no one ever told me this. So that's one of the things where several, I know I named out several things, but that what keeps me going. And knowing that, Stephanie, you can't stop now. You're helping too many women to make them look good and feel good. So you gotta keep going. Even when I don't even want to some days. I mean, I tell everybody, some days I don't want to post style tips on my Facebook page. I don't want to engage with my followers. I don't want to do anything, but I got to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So.
So how? I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. So, how important is it, based on what you just said, that made me think of the importance of doing something every day that gets you one step further to your dreams? How important it was that for you to make sure you did something? Because I know when we were talking about you coming on to the podcast, that was one of the things that you mentioned, that in you just telling me your story, I was like, I gotta have Stephanie on this podcast. Just the things like that, like posting every day, making sure you have a social media presence, you know what I'm saying? Just the things that you knew that you had to do in order to further yourself as a fashion stylist.
Right. I learned that consistency is key. People are watching everything that you do, and they see that, oh, Stephanie posts Monday through Friday. She's posting a style tip every day. I do that every single day. They know that I'm just going to say something about fashion. If it's a quote or something, they're looking at that. Even if I just post a picture, I'll do a quote, from a famous designer or something. It's always going to be something fashion related, and people are seeing it. So if I stop, even for 2 or 3 days, some of my followers are noticing it. Like, what? Wait a minute. She didn't post a style tip. She's not posting a picture, because actually, I got sick a couple of weeks. Well, now actually it was right before 4th of July. I was gonna say it was a couple of months, but it's actually right before 4th of July. I got sick. I actually thought I had COVID, but I got tested and I didn't. But I was sick for a whole week. I wasn't posting a whole lot. I was trying to, at least if I didn't post on my personal page, post on my Style Me Stephanie Facebook page.
Mm-hmm.
post anything on my Instagram, and I would say, at least let me just show up and post a tip every day.
Yeah.
But I wasn't present on my personal page, and people were like, what's up with her? She's quiet. What's going on?
Yeah.
And people were restarting to reach out to me like, you've been quiet. I was like, well, I'm sick. I really don't have the strength to do it, but I'm doing what I can at that time. And people notice that. Your followers notice, especially when you're consistent. That's why I tell anybody that's about to start a new business, or if you still, have been in business for years, always be consistent, because if you fall off for a week or 2 weeks, they're just gonna forget about you and they're gonna move on to somebody else.
Yeah.
That's how people are.
Yeah. So tell us about Style Me Stephanie. What is the vision behind this? What are your goals? Just tell us as much as you can about Style Me Stephanie.
I know this because I want to tell all about Style Me Stephanie. Okay, so as I said, Style Me Stephanie was launched June 16th of 2018 in Hot Springs, Arkansas at the historic Arlington Hotel. Style Me Stephanie is, I'd say, a styling consulting business. I consult women, I consult men, I style men and women and children. I help all of them. I serve a brand ambassador for several, meaning two. I actually got one that's coming up, but I can't mention who it is. But brand ambassador, excuse me, I got tongue tagged there, for 2 boutiques, one here in Little Rock, Arkansas, one in Atlanta, Georgia. And the next one is going to be out of state too, but I can't mention it yet.
Okay.
I have my own product line. I have the Style Me Stephanie Papa Color hats. I had the earrings. I had the handbags. I'm actually going to be bringing the hats back very soon. I have my t-shirt line. Recently, actually first of this year, I had the opportunity to grace a cover of Who Am I magazine for the state of Arkansas. That was a huge accomplishment for me because I was only supposed to be featured. But when I got interviewed for the writer, she was out of Atlanta, and she called me and she did my interview. She loved my interview so much that she's like, nah, I'm not the boss, but I'm gonna tell the boss, I really think you should make the cover. I was like, oh, thank you. No, I thought that was really, really sweet, but I wasn't expecting it. But of course I made the cover, and since then, I've been featured in several magazines since then. I've done speaking engagements. I started my own model boot camp in 2019. I was going to keep that going, but of course the pandemic hit, and I want to actually bring that back soon. I just have a lot going on. Like I said, I'm being booked. How they say, booked and busy. For several clients for different photo shoots. I mean, a lot of women are celebrating themselves. They want to do photo shoots, so they're hiring me to, get their looks together for like the 50th or 60th, whatever.
Yeah.
And really my demographic, I really serve 40 plus women, 40 and up. That's mainly who I serve, and it's been working for me. It's a lot of, like I say, older women that, they want to be fashionable, they want to be chic, they want to look good when they step out. So I've been really, really engaging with them. Like I said, I've done kids and men. I'm actually tapping into more men now. I actually did a photo shoot with a young man, I think it was last month, but I'm waiting for that to be released because, as a stylist, when you're doing photo shoots and stuff like that, you can't say anything. You can't post pictures until they release, because like I had a client that made the cover of a magazine, Pretty Hustle magazine out of Nashville, Tennessee. It's Black-owned magazine. She made the cover of that. She hired me to style her for a photo shoot so she could have nice pictures to put in the magazine. Of course, it was just released a week ago, so I had to keep that quiet. I'm like, so, I'm learning that people think just because you're not posting pictures of your work that you're not doing it.
Yeah.
You have to learn that sometimes you have to wait to show, because you're the stylist, you're not the client. So you have to wait on the client first. So, people feel like if you're not putting it on social media, it's not happening. But, like I got things going on, people. Like,
Yeah.
I just can't reveal it.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm blessed to still be in business for four years. Like I say, when I started in 2018, things really did happen fast for me, and I really wasn't expecting it. Like I say, that's what made me really get it that this is what the good Lord, this is what He wanted me to do, because He's steady making room for me. He's making room for my gifts.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Style Me Stephanie, all things fashion.
I want to touch on something you just said. How important is it to not get caught up in social media? Like you said, if you're not posting on social media, it's not happening. But I know that we live in an age where social media is the thing. So everybody's posting their lives, they're posting what they're doing. How important is it to not get caught up in what we see, especially as it relates to someone who has a dream and you might see another fashion stylist doing what you're doing? How important is it to not get caught up in the posting on social media?
I'm glad you asked that because I had to be careful myself because, like you say, you knowing you're doing the work, but you can't show it. But then you may have, like you say, you may have somebody else that's doing, they posted, showing it where everybody's giving them praise. Oh, you the dope, you the bomb.com. And like, oh, they ain't telling me that. You feel some type of way. But, just because you're not posting it don't mean you're not doing the work. You don't have anything going on, that you're not being booked. So you can't, because even when you read comments and stuff like that, that can mess with your mind.
Yeah.
So you have to be really, really careful with social media because people on social media really just go with who's popular at that time, who's doing this, who's doing that. And 1 minute you can be hot, next minute you're not. So, that can mess with your mind, especially when you're reading the comments and things of that nature, and you feel like you're not doing enough. You feel like, well, maybe I need to do something different. No, don't do that. Whatever you're doing, you keep doing that, and your true followers is going to follow you with what you're doing. So you have to be real careful with social media because it can get real tricky. Because it happens to me all the time. Like I say, when I'm knowing somebody that's doing the same thing that I'm doing and they're posted and I can't post because it's not my time to post, I feel like, oh, so they all into her. They forgot about me.
Yeah.
But it's really just the mind thing. So you have to be careful with it.
Is there anything that you learned about yourself throughout this process? I mean, from the beginning of, where people were saying, "Oh, you should do this," or "Hey, can you style me?" Even to, really being in the throes of doing what it is to be a fashion stylist. What are some things that you've learned about yourself in this process?
I've learned a lot. Okay, I know I left this out, but actually, when I did start my business in 2019, I signed up for Jay Boland's, which she's a celebrity stylist.
Yeah.
Out of Dallas, Texas. I actually signed up for his boot camp, not knowing that I was gonna get picked, because just because you sign up, that don't mean he's gonna pick you.
Yeah.
I got accepted and I went to Dallas and I learned from him. And the thing is that his story, we had similar stories. Jay Boland actually started styling his clients from their closets. That's how he got started. He was styling from like Target, stores, because he's from Mississippi. And so he started just there. And I started the same thing. I was styling from their closet. If they wanted to spend money on new outfits, that was fine. But I'm like, I would tell my clients, look and see what you got in your closet. I may have something that I can work with that I may see that you don't, may not see, because I have a gift that you don't see. So I started learning from Jay Boland, and like I say, the fashion boot camp, we had similar tastes, similar stories. He loves color, I love color, and he loves mixed prints, I love mixed prints. But it's just thing is that once I started doing the styling, and I knew I had the gift, but I didn't know how good I really was, until you really test it,
Yeah.
uh, like a client might have a vision and I'm like, oh, I think I can pull it off, but I don't know. But then once you execute and actually do it, you're like, okay, I know what I'm doing. I have to pat my own self on the back, like, okay, girl, you know what you're doing. So even with a client just say, Stephanie, I just want you to pick my clothes out. I want you to pick out a makeup artist, my photographer, where we're gonna take the photo shoot. They just let me do me. And when I see the finished product, man, I'm like, okay, you know what you're doing. Now, I wouldn't dare tell anybody that I know everything. I'm still learning. Been in
Yeah.
business 40 years. I'm still learning each and every day. But I have to say, I have really grown. I'm still growing, and pretty good at what I do. And I'm still growing. I'm gonna get better. But I have to say that I am pretty good at what I do. So I have grown in the last 4 years, and I'm going to continue to grow. Because one thing about it, when you grow, you can't. With fashion is evolving every day. So I have to continue to educate myself on a daily basis of what are the latest fashion trends. I can't just say, oh, I know about fashion, but I'm not learning what's new out there. I got to be able to learn what's new so I can tell my clients. So I have to continue every single day. I'm in a magazine, fashion magazine, on the internet, TV, whatever, that's going to educate me on learn what's the hottest trends out there. So I can know what to do.
You actually kind of answered my next question. I was going to ask you, how important is it to be a student, to continue to be open to learning different things about your craft, or whatever it is that you're doing? How important is it for you to continually stay open to the learning process?
I it's very important. I mean, you cannot, have a gift and not still learn and not still educate yourself on what you're doing. Um, like I take pride in that. I've just, I feel like even though I may know a lot, there's still a lot out there I don't know. So I have to learn it. Only way I have to learn it so I can teach my clients. If I don't know, they're not going to know.
What's next for Style Me Stephanie in the coming years? Are there any things that you want to do that you haven't done just yet, or?
Yes. I want to eventually have a mentoring program for young teenage girls because it's needed. I want to, be more involved in my community. I want to teach, like I say, the young girls, things of fashion, learn how to be a young lady, etiquette,
Yeah.
things of that nature. I want to continue to build my clientele. Um, I want to, one day, be a creative director, whether that's for a magazine or fashion house or whatever, or even have my own fashion house,
Yeah.
really. Like I say, Jay Bolin, he's like my my mentor. Uh, I just love him, and he has his own fashion house, and I just feel like, if I keep going and take the path that I'm supposed to do, I have it too one day. So
Yeah.
that is, some of the things that I want to do eventually.
Yeah. Is there anything that you would say to somebody who is doing fashion, or not even fashion, but just that has a dream, and might feel like they're stuck or they don't know where to begin? Is there something that you could say to help motivate them, or?
Yeah, of course. I feel like if you already know what your passion is, if you already know what your gift is, I say get started, do what it takes to, get it off the ground. If it's to start a business, if you want to be into fashion, and I want to just stop right here before I go into that because I actually had a young lady to inbox me, and she said she wanted to do something in fashion, but she didn't really have any fashion sense, if that makes sense. She didn't know anything about fashion. She just knows she loved fashion. And I said, okay. but what is it that you want to do? You want to be a stylist, or do you want to own a boutique, or what? She's like, well, I really don't know. I kind of think I want to style, but I don't know. So I told her, I said, well, first thing you have to find out what you really want to do. And if it's styling is something you want to do, honestly, I mean, you can be taught anything, but you kind of already got to have it. It's kind of have to be already in you, if that makes sense. And you kind of like, with this, right? I mean, you can't just say, I want to be a fashion stylist, and then you don't know anything about fashion. I said, well, if that's what you want to do, if that's truly what you want to do, start playing around in clothes. Get you some mannequins, start putting some looks together, start styling friends and relatives if that's what you really want to do. I said, but I could think she wanted me to kind of like teach her. I said, I really can't teach you. I said, nobody taught me how to style. I already had that. The good Lord gave me that. He gave me that gift. I can't teach. Now I can guide you and help you, for what you already know, but you kind of like already gotta have it.
No, it's just fun. I'm sorry, your delivery is just funny. I get what you're saying, though. I get exactly what you're saying.
Just like you're a singer, right? You have a beautiful voice.
You,
I mean, you have several talents, Fred. You do. But I can't sing a lick. You can't teach me how to sing. You'll be like, well, let me hear you sing, and then I'm sounding like how I sound when I sing. You be like, oh.
I got you.
Yeah, okay. But anyway, I'm gonna leave that alone. But yeah, I just say, if you have a dream, if you have something you want to start off the ground, I say don't waste any more time by doing it. Figure out what you want to do. Do it scared, do it afraid. Because I did it scared, I do it afraid. Don't let finances stop you, because if it's truly what you're meant to do and the good Lord wants you to do it, He's gonna make a way.
It's crazy because in the interviews that I've done so far, I'm hearing a lot of the same. There are similarities, not the same things, but there are definitely similarities. Like, things take time, hard work, having a plan, just persevering. Why is it that people aren't more successful? I feel like there's only a small amount of people, mind you, success is subjective, I think, but I feel like there are so many people who want to do things, but they, for whatever reason, they don't want to do the work. So why don't people want to do the work? Why do you think there aren't that many people that want to be,
I'm so glad you touched on this, because I see it all the time. There's a young lady, she just wanted to just jump in. I'm like, nothing happens overnight. I'm like, I was like, yeah, I started in 2018. I didn't start making money as soon as I started my business. You're not going to just, things going to take time. But like you say, people don't want to work. Yeah. They want to watch other people, copy what they're doing, watching them put in the work, and then they just take it and stamp their name on it, saying that they've been doing this. No, you haven't. You stole it from somebody else. I see so many people that are like copying other people's stuff in their hard work and stuff, and I'm like, that is not cool. Like, these people, they have worked hard, sleepless nights, blood, sweat, and tears, and then you just take it and just say, oh, I see it all the time. I don't understand why people are so afraid of hard work and feel like, that it's easy. Like, they feel like, they look at certain people like, well, if they did it, I can do it too. Not necessarily, because then you might not have the gifts that they have. You might not have the finances they have. You may not have the people that the team. It's good to have a good team. Yeah. You may not have what they have, so you can't say, if that person did it, I can do it too. You can, but it may not be the same.
It won't, and that's what I was gonna say. It will not be the same way at all. I can't do Stephanie the way Stephanie can do Stephanie. It just really seems like people are afraid to fail. People are afraid to take risks, and a part of jumping, a big part of it is taking those risks. I think that we're all capable of something, and we have something within us, but it takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of bravery to step out and put those things out there for the world to see, or even to try things. Because if you do try something in the beginning stages and you're not so good at it, people don't want to look embarrassed. People don't want to feel foolish. They don't want to feel like they can't do it. But that's the training ground for you to get better and better and better by practicing, honing your gifts, doing that thing that you love to do until you are better at it. But it's a thing though. It really is a thing, and it happens more than I think that we would like to think, because there's so many people with so many great ideas and so many talents or things that they are sitting on, because they're afraid of how they will be perceived, or they don't want to be rejected or embarrassed or told that you're not good enough. I'm a person that had that moment for myself, but like you said earlier, and like other people have said in this podcast on the interviews, and like I've said, personally, in this podcast, you have to keep going in spite of what people think, and you have to be willing to put yourself out there. You honestly have to be willing to make a fool of yourself for the sake of following your passion, following your heart, and getting better at what it is that you want to do. Because you can't get better if, one, you're not practicing it, and if it's something that I feel like requires help or requires someone mentoring you or teaching you or guiding you, you have to put that on display. For me, I didn't want people to, believe it or not, I didn't want people to hear me sing, just because I was nervous that they would say I wasn't good, or yeah, that they would say I wasn't good, or they would have something negative to say, to the point where I didn't even do it for the sake of me loving to sing so much. We get so caught up in what other people are going to say, and instead of just doing what it is that we love to do simply because we love to do it, whether or not that becomes a career or a business or something like that, just doing what we love to do because it's in us.
I get it all the time, because there are other stylists that are out there, and they're basing how I style on how they style. They style different, I style different. I don't style like that person. I mean, we may have some similarities and stuff like that, but people look at like, oh, she's not good enough because she don't style like her. I'm not her. She's not me. So we do things different. And then when people are in your ear, that does start to bother you, and you feel like, well, maybe I'm not good enough, or maybe I need to do more, and things of that, nature. And I've been there. And yeah. I'm just like, and I have people that I talk to, they'll say, Stephanie, don't listen to them. Do what you're doing. Keep doing you, and don't worry about it, because you're a totally different person than what that person do. I mean, everybody's not made to do things the same way. So, don't let that, but it's easier said than done to not listen to the negativity, because try, and I know it's easier said than done, but try to knock out the negativity, because there's going to be people always in your ear that was going to say what you could do better and what you're not doing. But as long as you stay true to you, the right people that you're supposed to have will be, they'll book you, you have the clients that are meant for you. So I know I've been there. I have people tell me, oh, Stephanie, you did good, but you could have did this a little bit better. You could have did that a little bit better. And then, that bothers me. And I'm like, well, dang, I thought I did a really, really good job. But then you have to block out all that negativity, because you have to realize the people that are saying it, they're not doing what you're doing. They're just sitting back critiquing. And if they got the chance to do it, they ain't going to even do it half as good as you were doing it. So you have to look at it like that. Just, let them say what they got to say and keep moving.
Stephanie, in closing, is there anything that you could say? I think I asked you this earlier, but anything you could say to anybody that has a dream, just sort of like your final words, your final remarks? What's one thing that you want people to take with them if they watch this, whether it's 10 years from now, 15 years from now? What is the one thing that you want to highlight that you could tell somebody who has a dream?
Okay, so one thing that I would say is that if you have a gift and have a dream that you're dying to do, If God has for you to do that, and He's giving you that gift, then He's going to make sure that you have everything you need to do it. So do it scared, do it afraid, but just do it.
Thank you. I appreciate you, Stephanie, for doing this. Like I said, when we were sitting and we were eating, I was like, I gotta have her on this podcast because we're similar in that we had dreams and goals and things that were not like our day job, and we had to, work a day job to pay the bills. And that's the main thing I want people to get from this podcast, just from the different guests that I've had or just from things that I've said, is for people to realize that people are out here every day with dreams and desires and things that they want to do. And like you said, you just have to do it. You have to do it afraid. You have to do it in spite of what you feel. You have to do it in spite of whatever your finances look like, in spite of whatever people might say. But there are things for you out here if you're willing to step out and jump, if you will, and willing to follow your dreams. So I'm so proud of you, everything that you're doing with Style Me Stephanie. Tell everyone how to get in contact with you on social media. How can people keep in touch with you?
You can follow me on Instagram at Style Me Steph. That's STEPHAR. Style Me Steph AR on Instagram. Facebook, it's Style Me Stephanie. My website is stylemestephaniar.com. Make sure you put the AR at the end or you will not find me. AR is for Arkansas. Thank you so much, Fred, for having me. I really, really appreciate it. I'm honored to be one of your guests, and I love what you're doing. And I love the name of this podcast. It's perfect. Jump.
I appreciate you, Stephanie. Thank you so much. Thank you guys for watching another episode of #Jump. Send in your comments, hit me up on social media, email me, let me know what you're thinking about the podcast. Let me think about some things that you want to see coming up in the future. And I appreciate you for watching and tuning in. We'll see you next time. Hey guys, please make sure to follow, like, subscribe, comment, and share all things #Jump, the podcast.